Thank you, and good morning, everyone. There is a big difference between Europe, where I would say the demand for electricity or energy is sort of stagnant, but of course the incredible rise in demand of energy in emerging countries. Fantastic development of wind energy in Brazil or in China, so this is very spectacular and very important. We are also very, very keen on seeing progresses on how you store electricity. There was a very famous Czech of the OPEP, and in the 70s he said, Stone Age did not end by lack of stones. So it's the same thing for fossil fuels. Fossil fuels will not end by lack of fossil fuels. It's going to end because we're going to find better, and wind energy is part of the better. So thank you so much.
For meeting the 20%, they need more wind and solar. Most of the people believe, or they recommend, by 2020, the wind should be not only 200 gigawatts, should be like 250 gigawatts. By 2030, at least the China should be 400, even 500 gigawatts of wind. Otherwise, you couldn't meet 20% of non-fossil fuels. I think that China, for all the renewables, including wind, should be developed, but still in the process of the argument. But I believe solar and wind in China have very good future.
While our overall projections have been reasonably accurate, the one thing that we didn't account for was the absolutely tremendous impact that the development of the wind industry in China, particularly after the passage of their renewable energy legislation in 2005, has had on the global market. And it continues to be the dominant market to this day. In the context of this conversation here in Lima, what is absolutely critical is what we do in the short term. Within the individual model runs within the latest IPCC report and various others, the one thing that's absolutely clear is that if we're going to have a reasonable chance of staying within a trajectory which allows us to meet the targets of 2 degrees by 2050, never mind 1.5, then global emissions must peak before 2020. But at the moment, the current climate agreement doesn't really have anything in it for the wind industry. The Kyoto Protocol, of course, we took advantage of the clean development mechanism, and it made a significant difference in China, some difference in India. It was beginning to have a difference in make a difference in places like Mexico and Morocco. We're desperately waiting for what comes next.
What we decided is that we wanted the wind industry to speak with one single voice and to have a very clear message for this agreement to be reached. What we needed is a common vision from the industry. To reach an agreement in 2015, we need consensus amongst participating countries, and wind energy is a solution for that. First, we need to accelerate the energy transition, and wind is a very cheap way of accelerating this. We know that there's still a lot of emission from the energy sector, but there's also lack of access to energy in lots of countries, and definitely a lack of access to electricity even more. And wind is also a solution to that, because it can go in remote areas, it can be installed quickly, and it creates jobs locally. It makes economic sense to act now, and to make sure that we have ambitious targets for that. So we want 2015 to be the deadline to reach international decision, and we want energy to be part of the deal, and we want wind energy to be part of the deal in 2015. And now I would like to thank all the national associations who have signed this statement. They come from all the 5 continents, and let me tell you, this is just a start. It will go bigger and bigger from now to Paris, and we want to make sure that all these national associations carry on the message to their governments, to the negotiators, but also to the public opinions of their countries, because we want to participate in create a momentum for change and a momentum for the COP21 in Paris next year.